Spence. Good morning.
Morning, Spencer.
Good morning, Spence.
How are we doing, guys?
Great.
Brilliant,
Mate,
mate.
you right?
We're brilliant interview, mate. Got to say, really enjoyed it. Do you know the first thing that hit home to me, listening to him there? Spence, tell me if I'm wrong. You obviously mentioned the kind of, I'm loath to use the word meltdown, but his performance in the ring when he came in and got a little bit upset. But it was as if AJ he felt really disappointed in the people that he respected because he felt he'd lost their admiration after that fight. Did you get that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, speaking to him in depth on camera and off camera after that fight, because I was out there in Saudi, I think that Joshua was being told maybe in the corner that he was in the fight or he was winning the fight or whatever. And I think up until the 9th round, I think it's fair to say that we all had it levels on the card. It was very, very close. And Alexander Usyk run away with it. His better fitness took over in the last 3 rounds and he won the fight. And I think that Joshua was hoping, especially when he heard the split decision, he was hoping that he'd got the victory. And when it didn't go his way, I think he was just maybe slightly concussed, a little bit confused. And he did it. The word meltdown is the right word because sort of left the ring. He come back in the ring. He grabbed the belts. He threw the belts out. Someone in his corner or someone should have took control of that, grabbed hold of him and stopped him from doing it. It was a silly mistake. And I think by the time he got to the press conference, which was probably an hour later, he'd recognised what he'd done and he realised that it was a stupid mistake and he couldn't reverse what he'd done. But he wanted to apologise to the people. And he said, listen, you got to understand where I come from. I'm a kid from the streets. I'm from Watford. You know, I had nothing. My cousin Bellew was boxing. He took me to the boxing gym. I found boxing, fell in love with it and recognised I was really good. But that's where I come from, you know. And he goes like, so all this fame and this fortune and everything surrounding that is difficult to deal with. And he said, and I just like at that moment where I just blew up because I don't feel that I get the respect that I deserve. And he should get the respect. He does a lot of stuff for the local charities around from where we live. People don't even know about that sort of stuff. He does a lot of stuff for the, you know, the amateur boxing clubs, the communities and whatnot. He's a 2-time world champion, and world silver medalist, Olympic gold medalist, and the public don't respect the guy. And it's just like, to me, I'm very confused by all that, you know, because I think that he's done a lot for boxing. He's done a lot of kids. He's an inspirational guy. Where he come from, like I say, he used to live a bad life. He changed his life around and he showed that boxing has got all those life qualities that can do that, or those life skills, that can do that for young kids. And I think that in 2012, when he won that gold medal, the gyms then started getting polluted with kids, male and female, who wanted to box because of Anthony Joshua, because of his story. And that seems to be forgotten now, which is quite a shame because he's building
Spencer, do you not think, though, that a lot of people respect Anthony Joshua and me as well, you know, Nigerian heritage like Anthony Joshua himself, but do you think people look at recent performances and think, all right then, Franklin, you got to go and put on a show, not beat him like unconvincingly, go and put on a show for the fans, and then his next fights after that, the Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, or if it's Dillian White, Eddie Hearn says, whoever it is, you know, everyone gets that buzz again.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to allow Anthony Joshua and Jermaine Franklin. I think the public are disappointed because he's come off that too long. I mean, he's lost 3 of his last 5, Joshua. That's where we're at with it, right? So he now needs to he needs to find himself. He needs to get over that psychological damage. He needs to reinstall that confidence that he once had, that rawness that he once had. I talked about that in the interview with him. Like, he needs to, needs to rediscover himself. Now, he's gone to America, shows that he's still got the appetite, and he's training now with Derek James. Derek James is a renowned trainer that likes aggression, and I think that's what Anthony Joshua is trying to find. I said to him, listen, mate, what you need to find is that old Anthony Joshua, the one that beat Vladimir Klitschko, that Joshua, the one that fought with that rawness and fought with that, there's an air of vulnerability about him, but that's what made him exciting. But that rawness took him to where he got to. What he's done with Alexander Usyk in recent times, and even with like Andy Ruiz, he's adapted his style and he's changing. He's boxing on the back foot, and I don't think that works for him. And I think that's maybe where he's lost the respect of the public. That's what I'm thinking. I think that he needs to reinstall that rawness that he once had.
Spencer, you mentioned the word psychological damage in there. I just wondered, out of yesterday's bout between Eddie Hearn and Simon Jordan, who you think sustained the most psychological damage?
That's it.
By the way, Spencer, before you answer it,
Don't do this again, Ali.
I think it was us. That installed all the damage.
Right, guys, I was sitting in the little gallery there, Laura, right where you are now. I was sitting in the gallery, and there was times there when you know what the chair's like, that big long chair. There was times when I wanted to climb under that chair. I mean, that was going back and forth. And what the public didn't hear was what was going on off air when we was going to the adverts, and they were still going for it. I mean, that was great.
Who do you think won, Spencer?
I thought it was fantastic radio, and I thought that Simon had some valid points. And what most people are missing here, and the main point that Simon was trying to get to Eddie, and the question that Eddie didn't really answer was, don't you think it's immorally wrong that you're still promoting a fighter and he's going to fight in June? And he said at the end there, it looks like it's going to be Chris Eubank Jr. now. We thought it was going to be Pacquiao or even Kell Brook, but Chris Eubank Jr. now seems to be the front runner. Don't you think it's immorally wrong that you're promoting a fight and putting him back in the ring, even though he's still not cleared his name? And then Eddie's argument was, well, the WBC have cleared him. He said, yeah, but the WBC are not commissioned. They're a sanctioning body. Doesn't really mean anything. They put him back into the... He said, what Conor Benn needs to do, and this is what I'm saying. I said, listen, we all want Conor Benn to be innocent, but the facts are the facts, and he's failed 2 tests. And what Conor Benn needs to do is that 270-page document that he's got, present it to the British Boxing Board of Control. Why wouldn't you be doing that? And Eddie was saying, well, there's legal still going on because this. They go, yeah, but if this kid wants to clear his name and gain the respect back of the public, because we know what the public perception of him is now, if he wants to do that, give this evidence to the British Boxing Board of Control and clear your name and continue. And I think that was sort of like the main part of the argument, that Eddie was saying that he's going to continue boxing in June, but there's still this grey, dark cloud hanging over it all.
Spencer, we've got to let you go. Thank you. That's
great interview, Spence. Well done, pal.
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, guys.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.